Today, I'm going to show you a plant that gives you as much caffeine as coffee, grows wild and free across a huge stretch of this continent, and gets ripped out of yards every single day by people who have no idea what they are throwing away. Stick with me, because I am going to give you the plant, how to tell it apart from the lookalikes, and exactly how to turn its leaves into a smooth, no-crash drink in your own kitchen. I've been drinking this for over a year now, and I genuinely prefer it to coffee. Here is why. Coffee does not grow here. It never has. Every bean you have ever bought was grown thousands of miles away, shipped across an ocean, roasted, packaged, and marked up at every step. That is the entire reason a daily habit costs you somewhere between $1,000 and $2,000 a year. You are not paying for caffeine, you are paying for distance. But there is one plant native to North America that makes its own caffeine, exactly one. It grows like a weed. It is called yaupon. It is a holly, a tough, glossy-leafed evergreen shrub that covers the southeastern United States from Texas up through Virginia, and it thrives in sandy soil, drought, salt air, and total neglect. Landscapers treat it as a nuisance. Homeowners pay to have it cleared, and the entire time the leaves on that shrub contain the same caffeine molecule as the coffee bean, plus theobromine, the gentle stimulant found in chocolate. That combination is the first thing that makes this plant special. Coffee hits you with caffeine alone, a sharp spike, then the crash a few hours later. Yaupon delivers caffeine and theobromine together. Theobromine is a slower, smoother stimulant, and the two working side by side give you steady energy without the jitters and without the hard drop that sends you back for a second cup. People who switch describe it as alert and calm at the same time. I drink it at 2 in the afternoon and still sleep fine, which I could never do with coffee. And there is no bitterness, none. Coffee is bitter because roasting creates bitter compounds, and because the bean is loaded with them to begin with. Yaupon leaves contain almost no bitter tannins, so the drink comes out naturally smooth and a little sweet, with no need for milk or sugar to cover anything up. You are drinking it black whether you plan to or not. So here is the obvious question. If this plant grows wild across an entire region, makes real caffeine, tastes better than coffee, and costs nothing, why has almost nobody heard of it? Why is it not in every grocery store? The answer is one of the strangest stories in botany, and it comes down to a single word. For thousands of years, the native peoples of the American Southeast knew exactly what this plant was. They roasted and brewed the leaves into something they called the black drink, a strong, dark, caffeinated tea used in social gatherings and purification ceremonies. It was so central to their culture that the leaves were traded hundreds of miles inland to tribes who lived nowhere near where it grew. This was a prized, valuable, well-understood plant long before any Europeans set foot here. Then, in 1789, a botanist sat down to give the plant its official scientific name. During certain ceremonies, participants would fast for long periods and drink enormous quantities of the brew, and ceremonial vomiting was part of those specific rituals. The botanist connected the two and assigned the plant a Latin name it has been stuck with ever since, Ilex vomitoria, the vomiting holly. The plant does not make you vomit. It never did. The caffeine content is comparable to a normal cup of tea or coffee. You would have to drink a truly absurd amount to feel sick, the same as you would with anything. The nausea in those ceremonies came from the fasting and the ritual itself, not from the leaf. But the damage was done. Imagine trying to sell a beverage with the word vomit baked into its official name. For 2 centuries, that single label did what no marketing campaign ever could. It buried a perfectly good native coffee substitute under a reputation it never earned. That is the whole reason you're buying beans shipped from another hemisphere instead of brewing a plant that might literally be growing in the empty lot down the street. Not because yaupon is worse, because somebody gave it a disgusting name in 1789 and it stuck. Now let me show you how to actually use it, because this is where it stops being a story and starts saving you money. First, identification, because yaupon has a couple of lookalikes and you want to get this right. Yaupon leaves are small, about the size of your thumbnail, oval, with gentle, rounded, scalloped edges, not spiky. If you are looking at a holly with sharp, pointed, jagged leaves, that is a different holly and not the one you want. Yaupon produces small, translucent red berries in winter. The berries are not edible, you are only ever using the leaves, but they help confirm you have the right shrub. If you live across the southeast, drive around, and you will start spotting it everywhere once you know the shape. If you do not live in its range, the dried loose leaf is now sold online by a handful of small American growers for a fraction of what specialty coffee costs, and a single bag brews a remarkable number of cups. Here's the process. Pick a handful of healthy green leaves. Rinse them. Now you have a choice that changes the entire flavor. If you dry the leaves without roasting, just spread them out for a day or two until crisp. You get a green yaupon, light and grassy, closer to a green tea. If you roast them, you get the dark, rich coffee-like cup that the black drink was famous for. To roast, spread the leaves on a tray in your oven at around 350 degrees and watch them. In 10 to 15 minutes, they will darken to a deep brown and your kitchen will start to smell toasty and rich. Pull them when they are brown, not black. Then you brew it exactly like loose tea. A tablespoon of crushed roasted leaves per cup. Steep in hot water for about 5 minutes, strain, and drink. And here is something coffee can never do. Yaupon does not turn bitter if you oversteep it. Leave it in too long and it just gets stronger, not harsh. You physically cannot mess it up the way you ruin a pot of coffee. One harvest of leaves off a single established shrub can keep you in caffeine for months. The bigger realization is the one that got me the first time I brewed a cup. We have spent generations believing that the only real source of a morning lift is a bean that has to cross an ocean to reach us, when a plant that does the same job has been standing in ditches and fence lines this whole time. Free, tougher than any crop, and better for your nerves. The caffeine was never the rare part. The story we got told about it was. I keep a jar of a roasted yaupon next to my kettle now, right where the coffee used to sit, and I have not gone back. Free, smooth, no crash, no shipping, no markup. Just a plant that was here the entire time. If this opened your eyes to something growing right under your nose, share it with someone who needs it. See you in the next one.